Hi, Terry VanNoy. Welcome to Math Class with Terry V. Hope this video helps you out, and if you enjoy it, please share it, comment, or like it. And you can also go to my website, MathPowerLine.com. It's a math resource blog, lesson videos for students, and other resources for parents and teachers. Give me a call or go to my website or email. All right, let's go to today's lesson. Hi there, thanks for watching this video. This is Terry VanNoy in my online math classroom called Math Class with Terry V. This lesson today is a series, the first in a series of 4 videos, and I want to start with the basics of writing equations of lines. Now these are all linear equations, so we have an x and a y variable in there. And in this case we're going to be looking at equations in standard form. Now standard form, as I've written here, looks like this: ax plus by equals c, where the a and the b and the c represent some kind of integer. Alright, now let me just say it a different way. We want to manipulate through algebra rules and arithmetic the x's and the y's, and the c over here is called the constant. It's just going to look like a plain number, and we want it to look like that form when we get done. Okay, so the idea is that we are given the equation of one line, possibly other things about it. Maybe we know the slope, maybe we know the y-intercept, which is where it crosses the y-axis. And from some given information and a little bit of figuring out, kind of catching some clues here, we have to write the equation of the line in standard form. Alright, well first of all, let's take a look at some ideas here. What you want to do is you want to remember that if I have a line here in blue, and if I was to compare it to another line, and I'll use the same color in blue, and I'm going to just tell you that those lines are parallel, so I'll try to make them look parallel. Alright, so the first concept here in these kinds of problems is, what do you know about those two lines? Alright, well, if they're parallel, the slopes are going to be the same. So we'll be able to pick out a couple of points on this upper line here, and we'll measure the slope, and just for the purposes of making it kind of easy, let's say it's 1 unit up and 3 units across. Okay, if I know this other line down here is parallel, then the same must be true. It doesn't matter which 2 points on the line I choose, but if this was written on graph paper, for example, I could look at the slope of both lines, and I notice that both go up 1 and across 3. So the slope of both, in this case, would be 1/3. Alright, so in some cases when you, in your math classes, maybe aren't given the slope of this upper line, but you say, if you know that the other line here in blue is parallel to it, then you know the slopes are the same. Okay, the idea is that we want to be able to determine some information from the slopes and the y-intercepts in order to be able to write the equation. Okay, the other idea is that if we have a perpendicular line, so let me draw a perpendicular line. I'll use a green color this time, and let's say that I don't know the slope of these lines, but I do know that they compare to the green line because they are perpendicular. Alright, so in other words, it makes a right angle here, and it makes a right angle here. Alright, now if the blue lines have a slope of 1/3, what does the perpendicular line have? Okay, what do we know about the slope there? Well, if we were to choose 2 points, any 2 points on that line, and they are perpendicular to the blue lines, we're going to flip the 1 and the 3 around. Alright, in other words, it's going to be 3 up and 1 across. Okay, now I didn't draw it very well, very accurately. I'm not using graph paper, but maybe I can simulate it this way. Alright, so in other words, if the blue lines have a positive slope 1/3, the green line that's perpendicular to it has a slope of 3/1. Alright, so perpendicular lines have a negative reciprocal slope compared to the lines they're perpendicular to. Alright, that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to take the very first form of an equation that you learn in algebra class is the slope-intercept form, and that's in the form y equals mx plus b. In this case, the m represents the slope of the line, and the b value right there is usually some kind of a constant number, an integer, sometimes a fraction, and it represents the y-intercept. Alright, now we're going to take all this information that we might know about a line on the graph, and if we can determine the y-intercept, if we can determine the slope, if we even know a point that might be on the line, we can plug in this information and then manipulate it algebraically to come up with the standard form. Alright, so that's the strategy. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our first example. Alright, here's our first example. Find the equation of the line through the point 1, 2 having a slope of 7. Okay, well first of all let's locate the point, positive 1, positive 2, and it would be right there. And we have a slope of 7. Now that's really 7 over 1. Okay, think of it as a fraction. So what does that mean? It goes in a positive direction, it climbs to the right, and I would go over 1 unit and up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put a little marker there. And if I go down 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and over 1, then I should be able to draw a line connecting those. Let's put it on there. So I don't need the graph paper and actually show this to you visually. We could do all this without a graph paper, but I just want to show you what it looks like. And the strategy is you start with the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and plug in any information that we know, and then we manipulate it so that we can eventually get the standard form of the equation of that line. Alright, so we know that there's a point 1, 2 that is on that line, and the 1 is the x-coordinate. We should be able to plug it in right there. The 2 is actually the y-coordinate. We should be able to substitute it in for y there. Alright, so that's an xy point. Now the slope is actually going to be what we can substitute in the m position. Alright, so what does that leave us with? We have the y and the m and the x. We should be able to solve for the b, which will give us the y-intercept. Now on the graph paper, we can check the y-intercept, and it looks like it's about -3-ish. Let's take a look. If y is 2, we're going to put 2 right there. And if the slope is 7, or 7 over 1, we'll just write it as a 7. We're going to put it in front of the x, which is a 1 value, and that's multiplication, remember. And then the b is still going to be b. So we've got 2 equals 7 plus b. We subtract 7 from each side, and that gives us a -5 for b. Alright, now that we know that, now we can plug that in to the equation, put back the y and the x in our equation, and then manipulate it into standard form. Okay? And we'll do many other examples and it'll make more sense. Again, we know the slope is 7, and the x and the y are going to be put back in there, and now we know that the y-intercept is -5. Okay? Now notice that my graph line here is a little bit off. It actually should have gone through right about there, -5. Alright, so we're going to use a little bit of algebra here and figure out the equation of that line. Alright, in standard form we are going to have the x's and the y's on the same side, so I'm going to actually add 5 to each side. Which gives us y plus 5 equals 7x. And I'm going to subtract y from each side. Now I didn't really have to line up my x's and y's here, but you'll see what happens in the next step. I get 5 equals 7x minus y. Okay? Now in standard form we usually have the x's and the y's on the left side and the constant will be on the right. So all I need to do is just flip-flop it. And I'm going to get 7x minus y equals 5. Okay? That's going to be the standard form of that equation. Take a look at the next video, which is problem set 2. Thanks for watching. All right, there you have it. I invite you to go to my website now, MathPowerLine.com, or email me or give me a call. The way I work best with students is live online in my classroom. So if I can help you in any way, answer some specific questions, the first lesson with me is free as I show you how everything works. All right, study hard and take care.